about the stone carving or stone sculpture industry in art. This is the first time. Let's start with you telling us about how it
area is synonymous with wood carving. Actually, Oye Ekiti experiment of Father Kelvin Caro experiment, the product of that stone museum. Whole mountain is reduced to portrait of their president, so that we actually need. I look around, I wasn't seeing anybody into
doing
stone.
it.
But I remember Abeokuta Abeokuta in Oshogbo, traditional, the workshop generated artists. And of it, not so pronounced. So I took it up. I took it as a challenge.
You studied outside school. What did you do to bring yourself to this?
Okay. I want to believe that I was gifted.
Okay.
Because my primary school in OC Community Primary School, I carve walking stick as handwork. While others would go and buy brooms and do crafts, I carve walking stick from my primary school through the secondary school at OC Central Secondary School. I carve, so they used to call me a Fosco art. In the community, I was known for
Popular.
that. And now, Bamidele Arowogun studio, it was just behind my grandpa's house. Akaro, Birimbomo. There's a small Marasano window that overlooks his studio. I could be there for hours. So, on getting to the university, I was resolved, even before getting there, that I'm going for sculpture. First degree, I specialize in sculpture. Then my master's, immediately after my NYC in Nasi Jaji, I felt I should go back.
That's in the north.
In the north. And I opted for stone because of this, lacuna in the scene, art scene. I wasn't seeing anybody, and by experiment, I selected a variety of stones in Nigeria across north and south, and I produced works. So most of the things I did was experimental. I discovered stone sculpting, the techniques, and I read so much about it. I visited Abuede factory in Shogule, but then there's a secrecy behind it. The ACA people don't even believe that those stones images were carved.
They believe it's natural.
It's natural, or the gods.
Yes, so that's going to bring me to our next question now. Talking about lacuna, I think the one in Nigeria and this stone sculpting is a very wild one. It's very wide that I think if we don't, if we don't come to the realization of it, this career or this sector of art can be lost. Now let's talk about the industry. Let's talk about the practice.
Okay.
Take us through it. How is it like? Because you made mention of a particular place that I believe this thing is natural. Let me draw your attention to the Zuma Rock.
Yes.
A lot of people believe that the image on Zuma Rock is natural. You know, the face.
Yeah.
But I believe it's as a result of weathering. You know, it's just crack and stones and all that. Now, take us through it.
Okay.
How do you need to form an image with a solid rock?
Okay.
I mean.
Okay. Zuma Rock, what we see on that is just exfoliated rock. Exfoliation taking place on the rock. Expansion and contractions, it will crack.
Yes,
and
crack.
Then you see an image. Actually, every boulder you see, like Michelangelo would say, has an image. Over the years, I've learned to see the image in the boulder. For instance, I was carving a boulder, I was finishing, about signing off, and the rock splitted. I was very wrought.
There's
with
nothing
myself.
you can do. You can't glue a stone
my
together.
God. That a collector came into my studio in Auchi and said, Afolayan, why not finish up this for me? And saw the other half. Why not finish up this? And I did just that. And behold, I sold them.
How did you finish it?
I just dressed
Designs,
it.
okay.
So with that, I now develop a mindset that until the work is finished, it's not finished. So I dialogue with my stones. And over the years, I've been able to...
You dialogue with your stones. Interesting.
So dialoguing with stones, what comes out finally becomes the final piece.
So your dialogue with the stones is trying to understand what it needs to
Yes.
come out well.
Yes.
Interesting.
So I have an idea, I'm trying to bring it out, and as I carve, the stone might give way one way, and because of that, I decide to, okay, so how will I achieve a pleasing form at the end of the day? So I walk on. So I was no longer discouraged by splitting rock. And the nature of our boulders in Nigeria are actually, because of the mining techniques, they drill and blast.
Yes.
The more cracks you have on a boulder, the better for them, because they will still pulverize it. They will pound it to powder. It's the chemical for pigments, for toothpaste, for cement, so the better for them. But for us as sculptors, no. So that's the difference. When I traveled out, I was in Pietrasanta and I was in Carrara Marble. You see, it's like going to a sawmill and asking for, give me 2 by 2 by, dimension.
Yeah, so you can get stones like that.
And they deliver it in the studio.
Wow.
We don't have that yet in Nigeria. Dimension stone is nil for now.
I think that's because people are not paying much attention to that aspect of art, which is why we need to talk about it, like what we are talking about it on the program now.
Yes.
Now, we have some of your work here. There's this one that has this image of like you are hugging someone,
Yes,
trying to
yes.
say something to the
That's
person.
Mrs. Shillong's collection.
Great, it looks very beautiful. Now, I want to ask, how did you come up with this? Did you have to sketch?
Yes.
Did you have to use something to paint it? What kind of tools do you use for all of this?
You see this piece in particular.
Yes.
The very morning I've been challenging engineer Mrs. Shillong to have garden pieces. I said, can you, it was a challenge to me. I said, okay, bring sketches. That same morning I was going to his place in Maryland. I sketched. I said, he opted for the piece. And I went to the quarry, selected the boulders, and took to my studio, angle grinder, diamond cutters, and I started,
All these are the materials you use.
those are the tools that, I used in those, most of these works. But now, my trip to Italy has advanced my equipment using the pneumatic hammer. They call it martello.
Makes it easier.
It makes it easier. You see, the technology over there, where you carve, you have chisel and hammer. You are hammering, poi, poi, poi. And sometimes you bang your hands.
Yes.
Severally, I'm used to it. But then...
Your hand is probably very strong now. I mean, you're used to...
But then, when I got there and I saw martello, you see road constructions, you see them cracking rocks. That, over there, they have so developed that air hammer with just like a toothpaste size of handle.
It's not even heavy
It's
or
no
big.
longer,
Wow.
in fact, you can now carve even nails
Around
the fingers. In that, the tube.
Okay, we have a caller.
Okay.
Let's take this call. Thank you, Idowu, for joining us. Oh my God. Idowu, please try and reach us again. And please let me remind you that you can join us on the conversation via our social media handles. When you call, please try as much as you can to turn down the volume of your TV sets. That's the only way we can communicate with you clearly. So you're saying something about...
So the pneumatic tools, you just have a cylinder, sizes, and you can just, inside the cylinder, you have the hammer, you have the spring. As the air is passed into the compressing machine, is, you know, as you switch on.
Okay, we have another caller.
Okay.
Ayodapo, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Do you have a question for our guest?
This is heading for VA.
Okay, please go ahead.
From Erua.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, Mr. Polanya, well done.
Thank you very much.
Please, how do you transfer your work?
Okay.
Thank you so much for your question. So we're going to come to that aspect.
Okay.
I mean, I have that in mind too.
Okay.
Yes, but just before you answer that, you are still taking us through the
material.
material. Yes.
So in the material, you have a tube-like handle. You have the spring. You have the hammer. All it does, when the air is passed into the tube, it vibrates. Now, the vibration of the hammer
Is what hits.
you know, all you need to do is to handle the chisel and control it. So you are no longer banging your hand. You are no longer, you know, so, and it's as small, you can have tube like this.
And you can form an image
So you
like
can
this.
form, these are even broad things. They are smaller pieces. If you see my Omidon, you see a finer lady, you see the broad works like this is easily done with.
Wow,
with the
you see
material.
why it's good we listen to this, because I don't know, but when I first saw this, the first time I was wondering how you came up with that image. Now back to Ayodapo's question,
Okay.
now how do you move? Now I know that portability is going to be an issue with your work. How do you move?
Transfer.
Yes.
Transfer concept on the work.
Yeah.
On the boulder.
How do you transport
Okay.
them? Yes.
Actually, that's also another challenge.
I know.
But with Hayab, truck with bucket, you lift and put in the bucket and move. You get to where you are going. Like this piece, from detail, and I have truck, go to Auchi, go and bring my stones. And we anchor it, put in the bucket. We had already prepared the base.
Let's take this from
Okay.
Idowu. Idowu, thank you for joining us again.
Okay. Afternoon. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Go ahead with your question.
Okay.
Thank you. Afternoon.
Yeah. My senior brother.
Thank you so much, Idowu. I think Idowu is trying to...
From day one, I'm from Osi.
You are from Osi? Okay.
Interesting. Please keep watching World of Art. So, I'm also concerned about how long it takes to make your piece.
Okay. Considering the time, it's not something you do.
Yeah.
You have to even sleep over it. Since I dialogue with my boulders, I could work on a piece. Another, in fact, it's evolving. It could evolve over a month, 2 months, sometimes even a whole year.
It's possible.
When I see a piece like this one, I can still revisit it
Yes.
and still work on it. Until it is finished, it's not finished.
But do you always have your work on big stones? Can you have like a portable something?
I have some portable, but the problem with portable is that the boulder is small. Actually, you have to have a sizable boulder and walk from outside inside. You are knocking off unwanted parts. So to get to the desired form. There are some that are smaller pieces like that. And with modern tools, as a matter of fact, there's what I discovered, that there's digital sculpting. My last trip to Carrara, Avenza, robotic marble carving in Carrara Art Academy.
Yeah, talking about marble, I was going to ask you, do you use all kinds of stones for your sculpting? And then maybe you use that to wrap up on the program, because a lot of people would, I think there's this one question that a lot of people would still want to ask. Why should we really consider stone sculpting in our society today? I mean, this conversation is to, you know, awaken people's consciousness to this particular sector, this particular part of art. Yes, so why should we really pay attention to?
You see, of all arts works, I will not pull down any. God forbid, if a stone piece is in a house and the house caught fire, you will come here and carry your stone and dust it off. But others, most likely, you will not, you can't recollect all those ones. Now, stone medium is lasting, is durable, is like bronze, like iron, you know. But this one is solid. With much heat, the bronze can still melt. But these ones, it will take, you know, higher temperature or heat to get it damaged. At most, it will crack the surface. Then you can still recover it.
I'm also not trying to take sides, but I think the expression is, I don't know, I think you can understand the expression better with your mode of, I mean, look at this picture right now. You could understand the expression behind these words, this artwork on its own. Now I'm going to ask you, because we have a final question from Facebook. How can I learn this form of art? Another person is asking, how expensive is your piece of work? This is from Shola on Facebook.
Okay. The works, I'm very cheap. I'm more interested in your interests. If you have, like A.M. Michelon, you know, interest in my piece, my passion for it is to satisfy the people. Though money is also needed for me to develop and sustain, I'm still relatively cheap. Now, training, we have schools. All students who pass through Auchi Polytechnic, they must carve stone and wood before you graduate.
Time is not by our side. I mean, there's so much we have to do.
Then there's workshops.
Your final words on the program now.
We also have art workshops. Bruce Onombra Prayer Amatan Workshop Series. Many people have been exposed to stone workshop. I organize stone workshops, even in OC, and we are thinking of doing that more and more. If you are interested, get in touch. If you are interested in any of the pieces, I have some garden pieces. Some of those that you are seeing, they are also waiting for collection. We just agree and is transported to your
Thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Thank you very much.
I say this is a big congratulations to the art industry, and yes, your final words on the program.
I want to appreciate Engineer Shilon. He's been my patron, and what he is doing in the art world through this program is commendable, exposing the Nigerian artists to the audience, the wider coverage. A lot of people by this program now know that there's somebody who is carving stone. There are people who are not aware yet. So I want to appeal that it should be extended beyond Ogun State.
All right.
Though my wife is from Ogun State.
I believe he's watching right now.
Yes.
We are all watching.
My wife is Owu, Abeokuta.
Yes.
And she's also a textile fashion. In fact, she had PhD in fashion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming.
We should be extended to other areas of the nation.
Thank you so much
Thanks
for coming on the
SNA
program.
Ogun and the people who are behind the scene.
Yes.
And to you,
thank you so
Miriam.
much for coming on the program. Unfortunately, this is how far we can go on the program World of Art on OGTV. I'll see you next week, God's willing, where I bring you another interesting artist, and together we take a close look at topics that you should benefit from in arts in our society. My name is Miriam Usman. Compliments of the season.
We wish you a Merry